Hey everyone, welcome back to Beyond the Showroom podcast. I am Mike Davenport and I am joined by my lovely wife who is still not killing me, which is good since we are on day 7 of
something like
quarantine
that.
and having to live here.
I think last Tuesday was the first day you were home.
Yep.
And it's taken a lot for me to get used to.
It is. Because I'm never home, right?
Nobody's ever home. I have our youngest is sleeping during the day and in school normally. And then you and our son are gone to work and I get the whole house to myself.
Lucky you, right?
Not right now.
No, not right now, but beforehand. So we are really excited for tonight's episode. We're going to talk about the current COVID-19 coronavirus incentives, rates, scams that are out there. Is it really a good time or a bad time to buy a car? And if you just, want to stay at home or want to go in, how the dealerships are protecting, at least how my dealership is protecting me. And again, as I always say, I don't do these podcasts to sell cars. I don't want people calling me and saying, "Hey, Mike, I really like your podcast. I want to buy a Chevy Malibu and I live in California," right? Let's just face it. To ship a Chevy Malibu to California is not going to be cost effective. I'm doing this podcast. We're doing this podcast so that way you can use these tips and tricks to go out to your dealership of choice in the convenience of your own neighborhood and buy local. That's the whole thing about this. So before we get into this, we have a awesome sponsor that's here weekly on the Beyond the Showroom podcast, and that is Surfshark VPN. So Surfshark VPN is a huge sponsor. I use them to go through this podcast and through my live streams, and you really need this to access and secure your digital life. So did you know that your hotels, airlines, and more have different prices based off of where you're connected from on the internet? Did you know that someone in Canada may not get the same programming on Netflix as we do here in the USA, and vice versa, or in the UK, or wherever the case may be? So I want to introduce you to Surfshark VPN. When you're using public Wi-Fi, hotel Wi-Fi, airport, or on your mobile device, I always use a VPN to secure that, encrypt that data I'm sending. So a new feature that Surfshark VPN is using is called Hack Life. That's HACK Life. It provides an extra layer of security. Hack Life scans databases for possible email and password leaks, also providing you, the user, real-time alerts with any personal information that was leaked and found available on the internet, including the dark web. So here's the best VPN deal for my viewers. You get Surfshark VPN at surfshark.deals/Chevy Dude. By entering promo code Chevy Dude, you'll get 83% off and 1 extra month of free subscription. The minimal cost you spend with Surfshark will outweigh the benefits and peace of mind with you and your personal and private information. Use the link in the description with code Chevy Dude for these amazing savings. And thank you, Surfshark, for sponsoring this video. So again, you can always text in your responses or your questions to the number on your screen for the viewers that are watching the live stream, the 502-909-5192. This phone is literally only on during the live stream. It's not on anywhere else. This is not a phone number to communicate with me. I don't even look at the phone. It's all Mrs. Chevy Dude is the one who looks at the phone. So this is to tune it in. If you want to guarantee your question getting answered, regardless if it's on topic or off topic, you can use the super chat feature and we will do that. So join us every Tuesday night at 7 p.m. on the Chevy Dude YouTube channel for our live broadcast. And then every Wednesday morning, we do the podcast portion on your favorite podcasting software. And that comes live at 6 p.m. Eastern time. So a couple of the topics we're going to talk about in this episode is the big topic is 0% really that great of a deal. So we're going to talk about that. I'm going to show you a real world scenario of the difference between zero and traditional financing. I recorded this earlier today and I'm going to show you the video of it. So I wanted to get into really, really good detail of this. Why dealers may sway you away from 0%. This is a big one. So you got to be careful on this. What vehicles these deals are on and how to safely buy a car during this crisis. So I know you don't buy cars.
No.
But I mean, would you be scared to go out and buy something to this day and age right now? The way it is, buy a car, if you knew that the company was taking safeguards to protect you?
How how is the company taking safeguards to protect me?
Like just doing extra sanitation, or they've stepped up their game,
you're
stuff like
talking
that.
in that respect. I'm sitting here thinking, spending the money, etc. Because all I think about is what money gets spent.
Yeah.
And lack of money coming in for a lot of people right now.
Yeah. So and really, I've talked about this the last couple of days. Is I went through in the car business. I went through the 2008, 2009 crisis with the financial stuff that just put us into what's that called, it's not a depression. Recession. There we go. And it was pretty bad. And I learned a lot from that, because that was the first one that I had ever went through as an adult. And we just went through this and tried to make sure that, we put different avenues. I love selling cars, right? So I wanted to make sure that I was protecting ourselves and our family about, with our income. So that's why I started doing YouTube and started doing this. And this is a full business for us and whatnot. So that's what I'm doing right now. So it's a good time to do it, but got to protect ourselves as well. So, I wanted to talk about, is 0% really a good deal? And it can be a good deal under the right circumstances. And if you, if you give up a little rebate, like a $2,000, $3,000 rebate, it may not be that big of a deal. If you're on a really inexpensive car, like a Chevy Spark or a Chevy Malibu, 0% may not be your friend. Or you know what? I said that backwards. I apologize on that. I said that completely dyslexic there. If you're giving up a little rebate, it may be a good deal for you. If you're only giving up like $1,000 on to get 0%, yeah, give up that $1,000 and take that 0%, pay the less payment. But it's not necessarily that you need to go 84 months. So that's the, that could be a big issue too of doing that. So I wanted to get into this right away of this real world scenario. All right, so we're going to hop over to the whiteboard real quick for the people who are on the live stream and watching the replay. I'm going to use the whiteboard here to kind of explain some of the characteristics behind going with 0% financing. For the people on the podcast, I'm going to do this so that way you can hear it and you can know it. But on the screen here for the people watching, I have a 2020 Silverado with an MSRP of $52,335. Now this is a very common Silverado. This is a crew cab 4-wheel drive in the LT trim. This vehicle is being sold by Bachman Chevrolet in Louisville, Kentucky for $41,890. Yes, $10,445 off MSRP. Now we're not going to include any types of sales taxes. We're not going to include any types of dealer fees or anything. We're strictly going to work off the sales price of $41,890. Now, if you decide that you want to finance $41,890, traditionally, because this is, you do not get 0% with this number, we're going to explain that here in a second. On 72 months at a 5% interest rate, you're going to have a $675 payment. Now, when I'm looking at interest rates, when I'm configuring payments at home, I like to figure high, because that way when I get all said and done, if I miscalculated a tax somewhere or if I've done something goofy with my own at-home math, then we don't have to have many surprises on it. I just bought a $100,000 plus car. I figured 6% interest rate. When I did everything, my payment is much cheaper, which is good, but I was budgeting for the higher payment just in case. And plus, it allows me to budget for that higher payment, because I'll just pay that higher payment and I can pay it off earlier as well. So if we do that same $41,890 at a 4% rate, you can see that that payment is going to be $655. So there's not a huge difference. It's what, $30 difference? Not a huge difference between a 5 and a 4% rate. Now, I'm not saying that this is the rate you're going to get and just deal with it. I'm just saying at home figuring this type of rate, you should not be somewhere and be like, okay, well, I can do it at 675 or I can do it at 655, but I can't do it at 675. You probably don't need to buy a vehicle if you're $30 swinging your payment in your budget to do it. So I'm just that's why I'm showing you the difference there. So let's say you walk into the dealership and you're like, hey, I want that 0% for for 84 months. And I want that truck right there. Well, they're gonna tell you that, hey, great news, that truck's available, but that truck price now is $47,890. Yes, you lose $6,000 in rebates if you do the 0%. Now, one thing that I wanna show you is if you do 84 months at 0% interest rate, your payment is going to be $570. That's where you're going to be at on an 84-month 0% interest rate. Now, I don't recommend 84 months. And if you do decide you want to do 84 months, you got to realize that you need to keep this truck for a long, long time, or this vehicle. This is not something that you want to trade out of in a short period of time. So, again, this is a $47,890 vehicle at 84 months is a $570 payment. If you do 72 months at 0%, you're going to have a $665 payment. So what is 0% actually costing you? 0% is costing you $6,000 to do. So there's no such thing as free money. In order to get 0%, you have to give up $6,000 in rebates on a Silverado in order for this to work. Now, if you're looking at a Corvette, there's not much to give up on a Corvette, all right? So maybe that 0% is gonna work out on a Corvette. So you have to look at this stuff and know. So let's go into this payment up here, the payment without the 0%, you're taking an interest rate. At that 5% interest rate that I used earlier, if you pay every single payment, 72 payments at a 5% interest rate, $675, at the end of the day, your interest that you pay back is $6,684. That's what it's going to cost you to borrow $41,890 over 72 months at a 5% interest rate. If you do that at a 4% interest rate and you do the same thing, that interest charge is going to be $5,297. Again, you're paying that off in 72 months. Let's say you are the average person that wants to trade their car every 39 months. So if you have your interest that you pay and you pay 100% of the car off, $41,890 over 39 months, the max you're gonna pay in interest is $3,500. You're actually gonna pay $30,583 is what you're going to pay. So that's really important to know on these numbers and where to go.
So with that being said, you know, when you look at you and I said 30,000, I meant $3,500, $3,583. If that means that if you are going out there and you're paying off your car quick, or you're selling it, or whatever it may be, you know, if you trade it, sell it, if you have a total loss, the average consumer trades their car every 39 months. So with that being said, you're giving up $6,000 and you're only going to pay $3,500 in interest. So right there, just rounded math, that's $2,500, right? Am I doing that man math correct, Andy?
Maybe.
So
your man math even on the video was wrong.
It's $1,500. So, but that's where you're. Hey, I'm gonna do 0%, and it's not gonna be really, really good. And somebody had made a comment on here too to make sure you get gap coverage, and absolutely correct. Even though you're paying 0%, gap coverage is going to be a really good thing to have, because you're not going to pay down the principal balance fast enough to outweigh the depreciation of your car. I'm just going to turn it way up. So if ever, I'm just going to turn it all the way up. The mic, people are saying the microphones are way off again. So I'm just turning it all the way up. I can't go any further. So with that being said,
yes, the volume is going to be half of what the video was, because it was a video.
Right. So, but yeah, so you want to make sure you do get gap coverage of that. And the big thing too is, it's amazing that I see comments. I see these comments all the time on my videos and stuff like that. And you guys know that I read every single comment. I'm so involved in this channel because I love being involved in this. But I always see these hard ass comments that people make. If the dealer's not willing to take my cash from my credit union, or this is what I'm going to pay, I'm walking.
I sell a lot of cars per month. My dealership sells a lot of cars per month. We do not see that at our dealership. Maybe at other dealerships, but people are like, hey, you're going to take it or leave it type deal. It's what I read, how I read these comments. I don't see that at my dealership. And maybe I'm lucky. What do you think?
I mean, if you're going to act like that, you're going to have a hard time finding any place to be buying from, because pretty much you're going in there being rude right off the bat to some salesperson or managers or whatever. And then that makes them not want to work for you at all.
Right.
And, that turns around and says, yeah, well, I don't need your business.
Right. Yeah. Because, as much as the salespeople, and somebody else said it, I feel bad for these salespeople that are, living paycheck to paycheck and they're pretty much unemployed right now. I'm telling you, the Bachmans are amazing people. None of the sales guys are laid off. We're all 100% commissioned salespeople, and they're taking care of us. That's all I'm going to say about it. But they're taking care of us, and I'm glad I work for a dealership that we work for, because there's other dealerships here in Louisville, Kentucky that they basically said, see you later. Good luck. We'll call you when we want you to back. And,
but not just dealerships. It is retail stores. It's a lot of things. So a lot of companies sit there and have said, hey, we will pay you. But now that the closures are going beyond 2 weeks, they're like, no, I'm sorry. You're essentially laid off for right now. You need to file for unemployment if you want any money. And, it's just the unforeseen. We don't know how long we're going to be sitting around on our butts doing nothing. So, companies have a hard time trying to prepare for that and trying to be good to their employees and everything else. I mean, this is trying times.
Yeah, it is. And that's why we're talking about this, because people are still buying cars, and as much as it seems like the world is shut down, there's still people out there who have done the right financial decisions and gone out. So, you got to look at it. Is this really worth 0%? And that's the type of things that you need to look at, and look at an amortization chart, and look at stuff like that to say, okay, how often do I trade? Is this worth 0%? So again, if you trade a lot, you don't want to go over 72 months. You just don't. It's gonna bite you in the butt. And another thing with this is I'm not a big fan of is that they're saying, hey, listen, which is good. I get it. This is good. That basically, if you finance through Chevrolet, GM Financial, that they will delay your payments for 4 months. I think it is 120 days. So that's kind of cool. But at the same time, your car's depreciating those 4 months, and your principal balance is not doing anything different. And if you have an interest rate on your car loan, now you're incurring interest on those 4 months. Car loans, when there's an interest rate involved, car loans are a simple interest factor loan. That means every single day your interest is factored on your daily balance. So that way, if you want to go in there and give them $50 a week or whatever divided by 4 your payment is, you can do that, and it's going to save you in the long run over the term of your loan. So you got to be careful with that too. Yes, that's a cool thing out there with that carrot, but the stick is that your car is going to depreciate much quicker. You're not going to pay it off as quick as you would if you had you're paying it right out the gate. So typically speaking, you have 45 to 30 days before you go into that first payment. So that's always key. I mean, anytime I finance something, I try to do 30 days to 45 days as well, because just depending on what day of the month I want to do it. So, with the Corvette, I did 45 days because it was coming at the end of the month, and that's really when I want to do it, because that's when YouTube pays us, and I want to, I'm paying that with YouTube money. So, Matt's RVs, thanks, buddy. Appreciate your super chat. Always, he's a huge fan of the channel and appreciate it. I think you're up in Philly, right? Up in Jersey, something like that. So check out his channel. It's a really good channel for RVs. So, that's one thing to look at too with the 0%, the delayed payments is it really worth it? And there's amortization charts all over the place. When I was looking at that, 39 months, by no means am I a math wizard or a financial advisor, but, I think that $3,500 is actually kind of high is what you'd pay over 39 months. Looking at amortization charts, I was coming in at sometimes like $3,000 or whatever, but on the Silverado, you're giving up $6,000 in order to get that 0%. And if you look at that payment was really, really close by having a 4% interest rate compared to a 0% interest rate at 84 months and 72 months. So you're obligating yourself to lower term if over 5 years you drive on average or 6 years, if you drive on average of 15,000 miles per year over 6 years, that's 15,000 times 6 years. My phone is not messing up. 15,000 times 6 is 90,000. I can't do math today for some reason. So now you're over 6 years, you're putting 90,000 miles on your car. You're definitely out of warranty. Your risk is increased by something breaking down. So now that $600 car payment or whatever you have is increased, month by month if something breaks down. And if you do the same thing on 84 months, now you're over 100,000 miles. Well, nowadays people are driving more. So if you drive 20,000 miles a year, that's putting 140,000 miles on your car that you're still making payments on. If you're doing more than that, we drive 25 to 30 a year based off where we live and going to work. I drive at least 50 miles a day. So so that's really, really important. And Gap Time just threw in a super chat asking what credit score is needed for 0% financing. They typically don't do it on a credit score with GM Financial. You gotta have good credit, but I tell everybody 750 and above. Typically speaking, the 750 credit score is going to qualify. But if you've got one credit card and you have a 750 credit score and you only have a $300 limit on that credit card, you're not going to come in and qualify for a $50,000 truck. It's just not going to happen. We've talked about that in the past on what to qualify for and stuff like that. And again, having a 4 and 5% interest rate nowadays is normal for a car loan. Our interest rates are up. I know I see all these comments of people saying stuff like I mentioned earlier, but a 4 and a 5% interest rate is very, very common. Something in the 3s is tough to do. Something in the 2s is even hard to do in today's world. Now, come April, this is the last day of March. The banks typically will update their rates in April, come April 1st. So when tomorrow comes along, we might see rates a little bit different. But as of March, and all this stuff started happening in March, 3 weeks ago, the Feds lowered their interest rate to 0% and stuff like that. Well, the banks aren't going to give you 0% interest rate. They're going to make their money. And now it's the time that they can make their money. Maybe they'll lower it to 2.99, right? So they're getting 0% interest from the Feds and they're selling it back to you at 3 points above what they buy it for, which is always crazy because consumers will sit there and like, dealers are marking the rates up. Well, what do you think banks do? Banks mark the rates up too. And typically speaking, yes, you can go to your credit union, but most likely your dealership works with your credit union and they can probably save you a little bit of cash by doing that. And I always have people walk through the dealership and say, hey, I got this rate at this bank, and I go to their same bank and I get them a better rate. Or like Capital One, if you go to Capital One and do their auto navigator, and you do that stuff, I can get you a lower rate through Capital One, but as soon as you do that auto navigator, they don't deviate on that at all. It's dead set. So when you go out and get your own financing, sometimes you shoot yourself in the foot. And most of the times people don't do their interest rates. They don't do their credit scores and do the underwriting process to get that stuff done too. So the next topic I wanted to get into is exactly kind of on that topic, why dealerships are going to try to sway you away from 0%. You have any idea why, Andy?
Because they want to make money.
They want to make money, yes. So
like everybody.
Yeah. So the dealerships probably only make $100 flat for selling you a 0% interest rate. So that's not really good money for the financing of it. So they want to make more money. So a lot of these banks now just give you a percentage of the amount that you finance. So, say you finance 50,000 and the bank gives you 1% for selling it for what buy rate is, that's $500 to them. So that's a $400 loser deal on that. And that money makes up
for selling new cars at a loss. The average new car is sold at a 2% net profit. Less than 2% net profit is what a new car department runs at. Used car departments, sometimes even worse than that. So it's kind of interesting. So they want to definitely try to sway you away from 0%, but you can listen to them, right? Don't just like, nope, I'm doing 0%. Listen to them. Let them show you which way is the right way. You can definitely ask them, like, hey, listen, will you show me? And I recommend this highly, very, very highly. Will you show me 0% financing compared to taking a traditional finance rate? Because just like in that example I showed you with the Silverado, you're giving up $6,000 in rebates. You need to know that. You need to know what you're giving up. And you can simply ask that question or have them put it in writing. And I always recommend put it in writing.
But the same being said, when looking at that particular scenario, the payment was just a tad cheaper over time with 0%, even though you were giving up the $6,000. And a lot of people are payment buyers. All they care about is how much per month, and that $10, $20, $30, whatever it is, could be beneficial to them because most likely they're already stretching their budget to buy said vehicle.
Yeah. So, everybody nowadays is completely subscription-based buyers. So a lot of people will go out there and they don't care what the end cost is. They don't care what their amount of finance is. It's all about how can I fit it into my budget, right? So that's what's great about Netflix and Hulu and all these places. They're only charging you 12 or 13 or 15 bucks, right? And then if you want to go to the one with no commercials, it's only $2 more, right? And we see value in that $2. I don't have to watch commercials, right? So that's always good to go there as well. So yeah, definitely consumers are payment buyers. Majority of consumers buy on payment. And we've talked about it in the past that you don't buy on payment, you buy on price. So you just have to kind of look at that stuff and know the difference between, what you're getting and what you're not. So that's why in the description of this video, there is a link that you can get all sorts of little cool things. I'll email them to you that you can click there. It's in the podcast notes and in the video notes. So you can do that and get that. You can get all that information and have a really good diagram of making sure what you ask customers. And there's also in there the 8 tips to the car buying process. Sorry, it's my ebook that I made, and it's basically 8 tips to get your best deal on a new car, and that's in there too. And I got a big shout out to Steve Robertson. Thank you so much for the 20. And he said, glad you branched out to podcasting. It's been fun. This is our 7th Beyond the Showroom podcast.
Has it been that long?
It's 7. This is number 7. Can you believe that?
No.
It's crazy. You're getting more and more comfortable on camera.
Am I?
Yeah, I think so. I think so. Which is always good. So it's just branching out, right? And I'll tell people this, if you're uncomfortable on camera, look at that lady right there. She's not a camera person.
Oh no. I don't like the camera.
And you're getting better. You're getting better, especially since we recorded so many vlogs this week. Over the last 7 days that I've got you on camera a little bit more and stuff like that.
The Mrs. Chevy Dude ends up in the vlogs now.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I said I'm going to take over the channel.
I know we already got the photo art of Mrs. Chevy Dude that Lewis did in the last vlog, and I'm like, hey, wait a second. So it's really important to get all the information correctly and all the information on your car buying process to make sure that you are making a well-informed decision. And if you're someone who trades a lot, you don't want to do a long-term finance deal. Just like I said in the video of the truck, you don't want to have a long-term finance deal and trade off. And I try to convince my customers not to do long-term finance deals. It's not always that good for them because I know how they're trading. And if they want to trade in 3 or 4 years, their negative equity is going to be outweighing their
actual cash value of their trade. And most people don't put money down on car deals nowadays. Just what it is.
Well, you'd still have those people out there, like my mom, who may be watching right now, that buy their car.
Wants a $300 payment.
Well, besides that, buy their car and then don't want another one for at least 10 years.
Yeah, and that part's fine, right? So if that's your typical buying process, which, you know, I've been around your family for 26 years now, almost 27. So, you know, I can kind of tell your mom's buying habits of what they are. And if she wanted to do 84 months to get a nicer car or whatever, then so be it. She's good. I know she's not going to trade anything in.
So, Mom, if you're listening, you know, might be the time to get that Camaro SS.
Yeah, but I mean, we both know that 84 months is not a good thing, you know, even at 0%. But the cool thing is they got up to 84 months. You can do 60, you can do 72, you can do 36, you can do 27 months. You can do any combination of months. You can do 1 month if you wanted to. So it's completely customizable to what they do. Just the standard is 60, 66, 72, 75, 84 months is pretty much standard of everything out there.
So basically, you've had times where you've had customers who have cash to pay their car or pay for their car, but there's been like those times where you can sit there and get rebates for actually financing, but we're not seeing that right now. This is all strictly you give up everything to have that 0%. Correct?
Right. Yeah. You're absolutely right. So dealers hate that too. It's called down payment assistance. Dealers hate that as well because those interest rates are usually 6 and 7%. It freaks those cash buyers out. They're like, you're kind of like you're handcuffed to GM Financial to do that. And you're 6 or 7% when you can go somewhere and get 4 or 3%. So it's tough to do as well, because then you're like, well, I want to give up this rebate, but I don't want to give up this rebate, but I don't want to pay 7% either. And then I have to refinance. And it's just a slew of dumb things that corporate America just doesn't see, right? Corporate America just, not to get political here, but, the government's going to give like people like $1,200 checks or something like that. $1,200 check does not make up for the last 2 weeks for most Americans. $1,200, and it's not even a check. It's your money. You're just not going to get a big refund next year for 2020 taxes. They're just basically saying, hey, listen, most people get refunds because you overpay us, and we give you your money back, and whatnot. So it's just your money. They're just giving it to you early, and it's just kind of goofy. So I kind of wanted to also, with all this being said, with the 0%, which is exciting. It gets people excited. It's what vehicles is it on, and people automatically assume that I'm going to walk in, I see a vehicle, and I get 0% on it. And it's not the case.
People want 0% on the C8s.
Oh yeah.
Not happening.
The C8. Oh yeah. That's definitely a routine question. Hey, can I get 0% on the C8? No, they're not desperate for selling that vehicle. They're going to give you 0% on vehicles that are aged, or it is a leading vehicle that they sell. It's a vehicle that they depend on to sell a lot, say the Silverado. So when I was looking at the incentives, and to be honest with you, I was so involved with delivering C8s that were coming in and all this stuff. And, and I run my business here, and I've got 3 or 4 different things going on business wise that takes up a lot of my time. But, I didn't even know what the 0% was on. I literally had to look it up today to do the research and to do it properly. So I had a pretty good idea what it was on, because I know how GM operates, but I wasn't 100% sure. So the 0% is only on 2019 select Chevys, and the only 20 model that it's on is the Silverado. It's select Silverados. So I used the LT crew cab 4-wheel drive in that analogy there earlier that I showed all the numbers on, because that's the most common truck that Chevrolet sells. And that's the one that they bank on a lot. Anytime that Chevrolet talks to us about market share or what we're doing, it's always about the Silverado. It's always about this. It's always about that. And I think when we get the new 2021 Trailblazer, once that finally gets here, I think that's going to be a phenomenal vehicle to sell. That's going to be, I'm excited for the 2021 Trailblazer. It's a smaller SUV. It's smaller than the Equinox, smaller than the current Blazer,
but bigger than the tracks, and it's much, much nicer than the tracks. Still built in Korea, but and I assume probably close to the same facility, if not the same facility as the current tracks. But you know, it's going to be a sweet vehicle, and for like less than 20 grand for everything you can get on it, you get that on. So yeah, so you definitely need to ask up front or do the research on the websites for the manufacturers of what the 0% is on, because that does play a big role on the vehicle as well. And let's say you've got a vehicle that you bought 2 or 3 years ago, and you're like, hey, I can get another vehicle and get 0% and lower my interest rate. You need to look at that stuff too. That stuff may not be the right deal. And with my clients, I'll tell them, right, again, this podcast and this live stream is not for Mike Davenport to sell more cars. It's not for that in any way, shape, or form. And I really appreciate the people who call me and say, hey, I want to buy a car from you. But, you know, again, you know, if you're in Oregon State and you want to buy a Malibu, it's not going to work. It's just not going to work. If you're in Florida and you want to drive up and buy a Silverado from me, sweet. I've sold Silverados, brand new Silverados in California before, but you know, they wanted to do it and they wanted to make an adventure out of it, and they drove back and stuff like that. So that's the type of things you got to look at. And we've talked about that stuff in the past, but I always kind of like to remind people that, because I do have a big following. I do have a big outreach and people who watch me. It's just amazing, and I love it to death. But you just got to look at that stuff really, really closely. So is there any questions that we can go over about any of those first 4 subjects?
There's a lot of questions.
I bet there is.
But you keep talking.
Just talk.
So we had somebody text in a question about if they could get 0% with a subprime credit score.
Yeah, no, you're not going to be able to do that with subprime credit. It's going to be for the best credit out there. You know, that's everything dictates. Everything on a car deal dictates based off of your credit. Sometimes the price dictates off your credit. Sometimes the interest rate, the payment definitely does. The interest rate definitely does. But a lot of times these incentives are only good for people with the best credit. And I tell everybody 750 and above, just to be on the safe side. If I'm a little off and it's 770 or 780, okay, sweet. We know. If it's 720, then we're over it. But definitely 720 and above, 750 and above. It's not like you got to have an 800 or 900 credit score to do it, but they're looking for the best of the best people to give a car loan and not make any money on, right?
Sure.
Yeah. Next question.
Can you make payments during this delayed payment schedule? So, you know how GM's doing, 4 months or 6 months, something like that. What about making payments during that time?
Yeah. So if you have like your first payment is due, what's this, March 30th, say your first payment's not due till July 30th, and you buy a car today, and next thing you know, you get the mail of your payment coupon or your payment coupon book or whatever, you can start making your payments right away. And that's something that I would personally talk with your business manager on and tell them that, hey, listen, I don't want 120 days to first payment. I'm just in the market for a car. It's a good deal. I'm ready to buy. I'm ready to buy regardless of the situation. If you guys had 2% or 3% interest rate, I'd still buy anyways. But you can sit there and be like, hey, listen, I want my first payment to be due in 30 days or 60 days. 30 days is going to be the bare minimum because it's transitioning from the dealership to the bank and the bank doing all their processing and everything. But 30 to 45 days is the typical. But yeah, if you can make payments early all you want.
So with this delayed payment schedule that they're offering, doesn't that make it really more like you're paying, you're not actually paying 7.5 years, but you are going out 7.5 years on a loan because you're delaying it 4 months, 6 months, whatever. So then say we're looking at, July, then you got 7 years from July before you're paid off. And that just seems like crazy because you're really going out actually longer without having to make the payments more longer.
Yeah, no, you hit you hit the nail on the head because, and that's kind of what I was talking about earlier. I think you just said it better than what I did is, you are just basically sitting there driving your car for 6 months, for 4 months, for 3 months, whatever the term is. And you're depreciating your car, but you're not paying your principal off. You're not paying the principal balance off. So yes, you're putting yourself into a negative equity hole by delaying on payments. And again, for certain people, having that delay may be helpful, right? But as soon as you can get caught back up and say, hey, listen, I'm going to throw $5,000 to this to get this down because I knew I had 4 payments and my payments are $600 a month, right? That's 6, 12, 18. That's $2,400 right there. If you have a $600 a month car payment, the average the average payment in America right now is over $500 per month on 72 months. So when you get into these $50,000 trucks with an interest rate, you're typically going to be $1,000 or lower. If you're looking at a Tahoe Suburban, you might as well always bank on $1,200 a month. Doesn't matter what you do on a new one; it's $1,200 a month every single time. I chuckle a little bit, not at someone, but kind of like someone calls me and is like, yeah, I want a brand new Suburban or new Tahoe, and if you can give me around $800 a month, I'll buy it. It's like, if I can get you around $800 a month, I wouldn't have any in stock, because that's $400 or $500 cheaper than what you could get it for with again, most people don't put money down. You put 10, 15 grand down. Now we're talking about a different story, but most people don't put money down. I always recommend putting 20% down. 20% is a good number on everything you do. Hey, if you don't have 20% and you only want to do 10%, hey, that's better than zero, because you got to look at it that when you buy a car, you're going to have typically somewhere around 6, 7% interest rate. Tennessee, California, you're talking about 10% interest rate. So if you put in zero down, you're already 10% over. And just because you got all these big rebates doesn't mean that you're getting your cars cheaper, right? If you sell that car in 3 months, I got to be able to trade for that car and resell it to take business away from a new car deal. So that's why you lose so much money. I'm sitting here quoting for the podcasters listening that, I'm air quoting, you're losing money, but you're not. You're not putting enough money down to be level or greater than the depreciation of a car. Matthew, thank you so much for the $5 super chat. I'm 18 with 6-month history, only have a 717 FICO score with $4,000 down payment. Looking to see if you think I could get accepted for a $15,000 auto loan, $24,000 a year. So, 6-month history. I'm 18, so I would assume he's 18 and a half. But it'll be tough. But having that 4,000 down will be a key thing. So if you're wanting a $15,000 auto loan, that's gonna be a $300 a month payment. Let's see here. I'm just thinking. So if you're looking at a $19,000 car, putting $4,000 down to get to $15,000, that's the way I'm thinking on this. So you're going to have a $300 car payment and calculator. So they're going to look at payment to income. So 24 divided by 30, that's a 7% payment to income. So we're fine on that. Then, yeah, I mean, you might want to get a cosigner to get a better rate. If you can get a cosigner, even if they're not that great, right? Even if they're like a high 600 credit score, if they have longevity in the credit history, the FICO scores and stuff like that, that's going to help you on the interest rate. But that $4,000 down, depending on the car, depending on the loan to value, depending on the bank, they may accept it right now, right? Come tomorrow when all this stuff gets going, the banks are suffering with this as well, right? It's just not car dealers. It's not just mom and pop small businesses. It's not, people who are non-essential. I like watching TikTok. By the way, I'm on TikTok. If you want to look it up, just look up Chevy Dude. But I'm doing stupid stuff on there. Totally against what I ever do. But TikTok is just stupid stuff. So I'm doing it and I'm having fun with it. But everybody is who's non-essential is staying home, right? So a lot of these bank reps can do things. I was talking to a really good friend bank rep yesterday, and she works for Capital One, and she's not doing anything. She's sitting at home with 2 kids, and she's like, "You're lucky you don't have little kids." I said, "I'm not lucky. My wife is the lucky one."
I'm really lucky. Yeah, I'm happy that we're not having to do the homeschooling thing. And having little kids running around going crazy because they're bored.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
It's bad enough having a 19-year-old bored that,
should be in school and she wants to go to school and, college and, she's becoming a teacher and stuff. So, yeah. But, but yeah, I mean, I don't know what's this math that they teach now? I can never do that math. I can barely do math on my calculator alone.
Common Core.
Yeah. Yeah. So, But I saw a meme the other day and I thought it was hilarious that basically it was saying that kids are in shock because now their teachers can beat their ass and nobody can do anything about it. It was like, teachers, they brought corporal punishment back into the school system since they're all home and
Well, that's because
taught by parents.
the teachers are all sleeping with the principal.
Yeah, that too. And I saw one is like, congratulations, you graduated high school, in 3 weeks because or in 2 weeks, so they were just tired of the kids and whatnot. So if you got another question over there, we can answer that before I get into the last subject.
I would love to ask some questions if you'd be quiet for a minute.
Ask away. As soon as I get done talking,
shut up.
Interrupt me.
Okay, we have this question. I was wondering, since 0% doesn't really seem worth it, is it a better deal to buy in cash up front or to pull a loan and pay the loan off later?
So say that one more time. I want to make sure I understand it completely.
Pay cash.
Yep.
Or get a loan and pay it off later.
So yeah, so it all depends. If you're giving up $6,000, I don't think I would do the 0%. Now, if you can get a 2% loan or better, something in the twos is what I meant to say. I would say take your money, invest it somewhere, especially with the way the stock market's going. You can invest it somewhere and get a 3 to 6 or 7% compound interest on that and make money on it. That's what I would do. I wouldn't, again, I'm not a financial advisor, but my financial guy does say, hey, listen, finance and keep your liquid capital.
Okay. What about early payoff penalties? Are there any early payoff penalties right now?
That's pretty much gone now. There was a couple banks 6 and 7 years ago that did have a prepayment penalty that was like 2% or something like that, or $15 or something like that. But that's pretty much dead in the water now.
Okay, and this is a question from me, just with a scenario. What if you have we'll say 3-year-old Equinox that you're looking to get rid of and you're underwater, or negative equity for those who don't understand underwater? Would 0% actually be helpful in that situation?
Everything's a case by case basis, but off the top of my head, probably not, because the reason why is you're going further in debt. This is a car salesman telling you this, okay? So this is legit that I'm like talking myself out of a car deal, and this is what I think has made me successful in the car business for 20 years. Is I'll say this exact same thing to a customer wanting to spend money. So now I gotta, it's a seesaw back and forth. If I tell someone no and they insist on buying something, trust me, I'm selling them a car, right? My job is to sell cars. If I don't sell someone a car, they're just going to go to the next dealership and they're going to sell them a car, and I'm out of commission. So I'm kind of in a rock and a hard place, but I do educate people what I think is the right way, it's my opinion on stuff. But if you got negative equity on a car and you go buy another new car, you're just furthering your negative equity. So no, I don't think so. And maybe you save a little bit in payment, but you've got to realize that if you let's say you're like, hey, listen, I got $100 cheaper payment, right? Let's go to the extreme. What can someone do with $1,200 extra bucks a year on everything? Can they put it towards another debt? Can they pay the same payment now and get out of that negative equity? That's the type of things you got to look at. And that's why I say up front that it's a case by case basis. But in the short term, no. But again, there's always a reason why that could work.
Okay, so here's another scenario. I'm currently laid off because my job had to close down for this health crisis, and my payment is, say, $500 a month. Well, that's a stretch for me to pay right now because I don't have anything other than unemployment coming in. But I see, say, a Malibu that has 0%, and I can take it out for 6-7 years and get a lower payment. Would it be good to take the 0% then?
So again, case by case basis, right? If you can play the money game, play it, right? I mean, I get it. And that's a really good question.
With the whole thing of like right now, people being laid off and only getting unemployment, they're not getting anywhere near their normal income. and, just sitting there trying to give scenarios. But, a lot of people would be like, well, making a $500 car payment every month may be a stretch and I need to spend that money somewhere else. So, instead of maybe not paying that payment and putting yourself in further issues, if you sat there and found a 0% on something cheaper and you had the 4-month delay of payment, that, maybe.
Yeah. So, and I would say to call your current lender because they may do something for you as well. I haven't gotten confirmation of this, but I've seen comments on social media that, oh, I called my bank and they're letting me skip a payment, right? The banks, as long as you're a good citizen, you got good credit, you've never been late on payments prior to or stuff like that. If you call your bank right now, this is something I've said this before. What we're going through right now, no human being anybody who lives on this planet has never experienced this before. This is something totally new to 100% of the people in the world. This is crazy, right? So I thought 2008, 2009 was rough. Now I can't even go to the dealership and sell a car if I wanted to, right? We're making waves. We're trying to get around stuff, but we basically have the government saying you're not an essential employee, so go home and do nothing. But I've seen comments and stuff like that the credit unions and banks out there are trying to help people and they'll let you skip a payment. They have a little bit of benefit to that because if you have an interest rate and you skip a payment, that's 30 more days of daily interest that you get. That may be only like $2 or $3 a day, right? But that's $90 into the bank's pocket of daily interest because you're paying a simple interest car loan. And then they do that for 1,000 people, 2,000 people, 10,000 people, 50,000 people. That's advantageous and money for them. And they probably would let you do that if you communicate with them. But I have seen that. Again, this whole situation, nobody has ever experienced before. So they're doing things different than they ever have before, things that they've never done before. I don't think you could ever call your bank 6 months ago, 3 months ago, 2 months ago. Hey, I'm a little short on funds this week. I got laid off. I got fired, blah, 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 blah. Can I skip a couple payments? Nope. Mr. Johnson, your payment's due on the 2nd. If it's not here on the 3rd, we're coming to get your car, right? That was 3 weeks ago that would happen.
Yeah. Well, and right now, main thing is trying not to kill our economy, mm-hmm. But, homes, cars, people need them at times. They don't need them all the time, but, that's like the main backbone of a lot of, the economy and stuff is keeping that stuff moving.
Yeah. And I said this earlier, and I don't remember if I said this on the podcast portion of it, maybe the 10 minutes or so before I start recording for the podcast, talking to the people that are on the stream. But when we came out of the economy, we're in shock. My income was cut in more than half. It was cut about 60% of what I was used to. So, I started looking for things and doing things. And then I ran into Grant Cardone. And I thank Grant Cardone every day for this because he's basically taught you how to have multiple income sources, multiple revenue streams. And here I have YouTube and I have other things and whatnot. And now we've got this crisis coming that my dealership's closed down and I'm not stressful over it. And I just bought $100,000 car, a month ago. I haven't even paid my first payment on it, but I'm not stressed out about it because I got all these revenue streams to back me up in the event that the car business goes down. I love selling cars. I don't want to quit the car business, right? I love doing that. So, and if it ever comes a day that I can't sell cars, it's probably going to be pretty rough because I've been doing it for 20 years now. And, but as an individual, as a consumer out there, do what you can to find extra revenue streams. I think you need to stay away from these niche, not niche, I don't want to say niche, these trending, like people that have the pearls, that they're selling pearls. That stuff's kind of junk. That's a pyramid scheme, I think. I don't know much about it, and I apologize if anybody's on here and gets triggered or upset about it. That's just my personal opinion. But go out there and find some revenue streams that you can do things. Start a YouTube channel. That's what I tell everybody now. Like I had one of my friends, Matt, who's a car salesman, or works in the car business. He's not a car salesman. He's not good enough if he's listening. So, but he's down in Carolinas, and he says he was texting me yesterday,
He says, my 7-year-old kid wants to start a YouTube channel. I said, let him do it. And he says, but he just wants to play games. I said, there's a lot of gamers out there who make millions of dollars a month, millions of dollars per month playing video games. I said, let him do it. Let him do it. Let him figure it out. Let him, I said, monitor it. Make sure people are, not being rude to him and making rude comments and using curse words and stuff like that towards, a 7-year-old kid. Do your parental duties, but give him, do it for him. You look at Mr. Beast. Mr. Beast was making videos with his crappy webcam in his bedroom of his house. And now he's one of the top people in the world for social media and for internet. So go out there and just find something. If you have passion for it, figure it out and do it and protect yourself. That's what I've learned in the last 10 years coming out of this economy.
I've learned to piggyback off of you.
I've also became a sugar daddy, right?
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah, I just let you worry about the money thing. I just enjoy the benefits. Although I am not our spender. I do not spend much money.
I know. I don't know how I got lucky on that.
I didn't get lucky there because you're my spender.
I'm definitely a spender. I'm definitely the woman in the relationship when it comes to spending. I think I have more shoes than you.
You're high maintenance, very high maintenance.
I wouldn't say that I'm high maintenance, but I think, hey, I want this, and I go get it. Right? I mean, every day is Christmas for me. So
exactly. We can't even buy you Christmas presents because
I have to give you a list, and I make a spreadsheet and I put links. This is where you can get this. And it's hard for me to even think because I'm a spontaneous person when it comes to buying stuff.
Okay, let's get back to questions. So with the whole COVID-19 and everything, is it a good time to buy a car?
Yeah, I think it is a good time to buy a car. And a lot of dealerships are doing different things. And that's actually part of the last topic that I was going to talk about is how safety is being taken very, very serious during the car buying process now. So, my dealership a week ago, we were basically like, hey, listen, we'll do curbside service. We'll do this. We'll do that. I mean, again, I said it that, this is something that's never happened before. So we're adapting to this as well. So, we got a memo that said, just to reconfirm our current process for deliveries, this is to be no face-to-face contact. The salesperson included. There are no test drives. Basically, the customer needs to commit without the customary demo. No menus for presentation other than by the phone, email, or fax. We are to conduct our business with the customer electronically by phone, computer, email. Most customers have iPhones, and we can text a picture of the menu. Then we can go over product benefits via phone and close the customer accordingly. And that's just kind of talking about the F&I process, because the F&I process is very customer face-to-face and signing multiple things. So then they go on to say, print the documents, place them, preferably the salesperson, in the car with a cleansed pen. I love how the manager who wrote this wrote cleansed in it. He's kind of a germaphobe, so it's pretty funny. Leave and let the customer enter the car and sign where indicated. Then they notify us, the salesperson, by phone that docs are signed, ready to be picked up. Then either you or the salesperson can go out to the empty car and retrieve the paperwork. So either may wear gloves if you choose, recommend a disinfectant wipe over the pen and folder, but at the very least, use hand sanitizers before and after handling all documents. Then wipe down your desk after turning the deal in the deal. And a week ago, we weren't having that conversation. This is something that came out yesterday. I think I was in the dealership for a few minutes, and that's something new, that's something we've never done before. So dealerships are taking great lengths, and every business is, right. So we were in PetSmart yesterday getting dog food, and I'll tell people, I'm not scared to get this, and we're not going to get into this detail, but there's been information coming out that maybe this stuff was around November, December, January time, and we actually think that we might have had it. So we don't know, right? There was no testing. We didn't get tested. It's just speculation, and it's speculatory on that. But I'm not personally worried to get it because we're of good health. But I am worried about who I could pass it on to. So I take good, proper precautions to do it. So we went to PetSmart yesterday, and we were picking up some pet food. We bought it up front and just had to go in and pick it up. And, they were taking somebody else's out first, and they have call ahead service, which everybody has call ahead service now. But they're like, hey, the customer said take it out, lay it on the ground, and they'll get out of the car and pick it up and put it in their car. That's a no contact sale. That's something that's never happened before. And that's where our dealership has gone to. And that's where many dealerships are gone to. And I feel sorry for, and somebody said this earlier in the show, I feel sorry for the people who are working in sales that are 100% commission that, they're basically out of a job right now because the people aren't buying cars. It's difficult. They haven't done it. Now, I've been selling cars over the internet for 2013, 2012, 2013 for sure when the C7 came out. So, so I've got 7-year jump on everybody out there. So with me selling cars, it's not an issue. It's very simple. And my dealerships relying on me a lot to like, what do you do? How do you do this? How do you do that? And, we can FedEx paperwork, for somebody out of town. Andrew with Complete Street Performance is coming tomorrow to pick up their second Corvette. And, he's coming down here, but I overnighted him all the paperwork, to sign up there in PA. And they can't come into the dealership. Buying a second Corvette from me. They're not allowed in the dealership. They can't do anything. I'm not supposed to go over the car. Again, I'm not going to sue my company, if I get coronavirus or whatever. So I'm just going to, I'll go over it with him.
He should know what
he does. He's got one already, but we're recording for YouTube content and stuff like that. So we're going to have some interaction, but dealerships are doing this. My dealership put up probably 50 different hand sanitizer stations throughout, which is good. We had good practice anyways as a dealership. Again, we've got a couple of managers that are germaphobes. And so they're real cleansy anyways. And they talk about it every here and there. So my dealership isn't doing much difference in practices with cleanliness because we're always pretty clean anyways. But, like I've never gone out of the bathroom without putting a towel, around the handle. I never touch a door handle. And if I have to, say the paper towels are out, I don't use an air dryer. I don't use a hand dryer. I'll use my pinky and grab the handle and go out there and use hand sanitizer again. So it is safe to buy a car nowadays, but you may come in to find that you need to and we talked about this last week. I did a video last week. You just got to have no contact with people and do everything over the phone. And nowadays the dealerships probably aren't going to let you test drive, but maybe ask them like, hey, on a used car specifically, is there a return policy? Ask those questions up front. That's really, really important to know those questions. Again, I'll put it in the description of this video and in the podcast video, the link to the video that I'm talking about, because it didn't do real well. I think YouTube killed it in their algorithm because it had to do with coronavirus. And at that point, they were like really being leery of who could talk about coronavirus and who couldn't. And I made sure I didn't really use the word much, but like a friend of mine's video, they put up the same day and they got demonetized and mine didn't because I was being cautious on it. But that's the type of things to do. I think it's okay to buy a car. I think it's safe to buy a car, but just do the proper things for safety precautions.
Okay. Somebody made a comment in the live stream, and again, with the 0% loans right now, yes, you're giving up some rebates, etc., and you have to decide which is best for you. But somebody said, remind everybody that with 0%, every penny's going to principal.
Yeah, I saw that comment too, and I had kind of said that earlier in it. But it is nice. But again, if you're giving up $6,000 in rebates, like I demonstrated earlier in the show, in the broadcast as well, on that Silverado, it may not be worth it to you. I don't have my notes anymore from when I did that. But if you're only coming out a couple $1,000s ahead, I was on the pool table. When you're only coming out like maybe $1,500 ahead over the entire length of the loan, it may not be advantageous for you. That's why you need to look at it side by side, like I said earlier, to determine, okay, I see what it is if I take 0% in the bottom line that I pay. I see what it is by taking a traditional interest rate and figuring that and seeing what's going to be worth it, and then going backwards. And what do I typically do? Do I trade every 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years? Do I keep my cars forever and I pay them off, whatever the case may be?
Yeah. And, somebody asked about, let me find, whether or not it was best to pay more on a car loan than just what your payment is, which typically when you have an interest loan, yes, paying more than your payment every month will help reduce the interest that you pay over time. But with the 0%, it will just help paying off that loan faster so that your negative equity, possibly when you go to trade in, or have no negative equity when you go to trade in down the road.
Yeah, so it's always good to pay more than what it is, and so like what I like to look at when I do car loans for myself is like, hey, well, I'll obligate myself to the lowest payment possible without being screwy, but I'll look at what's it take per month to pay this off in 3 years or 4 years, and that's what I'll typically pay. And nowadays, you don't have to tell the bank that, hey, I'm going to pay an extra $50 and I want it to go to principal, not interest, right? You don't have to tell the banks that anymore. That's kind of old school, and it's kind of a rule of 7/8 loan back in the day. Never done one of those loans, but yeah, it's pretty simple. Next question.
Kind of off topic, but not fully. Somebody wanted to know, how can I figure out how much I can finance?
So a good rule of thumb is to look at your income versus your payment, and it's kind of complicated. The So if you go, I'm Googling right now just to check to make sure. So if you Google good PTI car loan, you're going to find a bunch of articles. And PTI stands for payment to income. So a good payment to income ratio is 15 to 20%. So of your total monthly income. And so you want to look at that. But then you got to look at your debt to income ratio. If you've got 75% of your income going out, a 15 to 20%, no bank's going to let you do that. When I realized, I decided to finance the Corvette, I had both my daughter's car loans in my name. I still had a payment on the Camaro, stuff like that. I'm like, I need to start getting these loans out of my name. It's like I better just think about that a little bit more, because I'm fine on payment to income and I'm fine on debt to income. But banks look at things screwy sometimes, like, well, he's already got 4 car loans. Why does he need a 5th one, right? So even though I'm playing the money game of I'm keeping liquid capital and I can afford the payments and I make them all on time and my credit score is great, but banks just look at things screwy. So the answer to that question is 15 to 20% payment to income. So just take your income, times it by 15%. That's what your payment should be. But the lower, the better. And again, it all depends. If you got, a bunch of debt, 15 to 20% is not going to be good.
And do you anticipate April having better deals well, pretty much things are getting worse. They're not getting better yet. We're still looking at Indiana's on a stay-at-home order until April 7th, and I expect it to be extended. A lot of companies are coming out and saying they're not expecting until the end of April to be back in business, etc. So do you think GM, Ford, anybody is going to come out with even better deals trying to get some sales?
So, no, I don't think that they're going to get any better. I think they're pretty good already. And I say this all the time. Traditionally speaking, regardless of where your month lies during the year, all the deals are relatively the same. So there's no difference in this 0% than there was 3 weeks ago. There wasn't a whole lot of change. So yes, it's a big hype and it's big news. And Chevy's like, hey, we're taking care of America, blah, blah, blah. But it's just marketing, right? And I get that. And that's fine. And I'm not saying anything negative about it, but it's marketing, and marketing is marketing. There's no gray area here. You're being marketed to make a purchase. They're trying to make everything shine and build enough value and have your emotional thought process have more value than the cost, and then go by. So I don't think it's gonna be any different. But here's what I did read. So I don't read news. I don't really watch a lot of stuff. But now that I've had a week off work and I'm still doing a lot of work, I'm still like recording content. I think I got way too much content recorded, guys. You guys are going to it's going to be crazy how much content I have recorded right now. We're going out and recording tomorrow morning. So, first thing in the morning with Corvette, which is going to be, fun and good. So, but we're looking at China's stuff coming back already. I was reading an article today, and I take a lot of these articles as a grain of salt, but if there's just any hopes and glamour to that China saw this weeks before we did, months before we did, and they shut everything down, and now they're back up running good, and they see their economy spiking, that's just going to be good for us. So, and I think we're much, much better than China is as far as economy wise and whatnot. But that's the kind of the hope to look at, and the things to see is that I think it's gonna get good. I don't think we're gonna be down in this very long. It's not gonna be like a year, 2 years. I don't even think it's gonna be 6 months. I know a lot of people are out there saying that, but I think this is gonna be a 2-month deal. We're gonna come back and we're gonna forget about it, and we're all gonna be too busy with the summer, and the sports are gonna be back, and we're just gonna be doing things. Hopefully we can make our trip to Europe.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're supposed to make a trip to Europe in June because the Cubs, I'm a huge Cubs fan. So we're supposed to be going to the Cubs game in London in June. So I don't know if we're going to do that or not.
Yeah, I'm not seeing it.
I'm not seeing it either.
But that's mainly because besides what's going on here, you have what's going on in the rest of the world. And we were looking at going to England or UK, whatever they call it now, and France. And both of those places are, having their own issues with the current health crisis. So I don't know by June that is going to be beneficial to be traveling across the sea or, much else other than domestic. But we'll see what happens. Now, with that, do you think dealerships are going to be having a strong game, say, in May when everybody can return to work on discounting cars heavy?
Yeah, I think so. I think dealers are going to step up their game big time because they're pretty much shut down. The Trucker Ed Show, thanks for the 5 super chat. He says April Fool's is tomorrow. Prank someone while in quarantine. Pranking people is easy right now. I mean, again, I kind of mentioned TikTok earlier, but I don't know why the hell I got on TikTok, but I don't know. It's obsessive, right? You just sit there, and next thing you know, it's 45 minutes later, and you've been TikToked by watching it.
That's why I stay
off. Oh my gosh,
I get
it's
on
so
it
funny to
maybe
watch.
once a week because I will sit there for an hour watching stupid things.
An hour?
Yeah, because I'm not like you. I can't watch YouTube. I don't
watch YouTube much.
I can't watch. You like to watch the gamers.
Yeah, I watch the gamers because I learn from them because streaming and stuff like that.
I can't do that. So, TikTok, I can get on for an hour, but that's an hour I'm not doing anything.
Yeah. So let's do one more question for the podcast, and then we'll hop off. And again, we live stream every Tuesday night, 7 p.m. Eastern time. The podcast audio portion goes to your favorite podcast. It's beyondtheshowroompodcast.com is the website to go to find it, beyondtheshowroompodcast.com. And that goes live at 6 a.m. on Wednesday mornings. Last question for the podcasters.
Yeah.
Make it a good one.
You caught me off guard because I don't have any that have to do with the current topic for this.
No.
So
look at that. Tom said the Cubs game in London was canceled yesterday.
I haven't seen that.
I haven't seen that either.
But I already assumed that was going to happen.
So sad.
But here's the nice thing: we should get a refund on our.
Yeah,
tickets.
we'll get a refund. But I mean, I was looking forward to that. I was looking for that since June of last year. Because that's when it was released. We went on our first vacation since 2011 last year. And
what are you talking? Well, I guess we did take the kids in
to Disney World.
I think that was 2012.
2012. Anyways, it was a long time on vacation. I'm not a big vacation guy, but we went on our first vacation to Hawaii for our wedding anniversary. We were there for 2 weeks there in LA, and when we were out there, they're like Cubs in London. I'm like, oh, we're going. And as soon as tickets came available, I spent like 5 hours trying to get tickets. I was so frustrated that day. And that I couldn't get tickets, and finally I get tickets. 5 hours invested, and now it's gone. Now it's done.
Well,
sad.
I was excited to be going to France because that was where last year's vacation was supposed to be.
Right. Correct.
And we just kind of came down to, it was
getting complicated.
I was stressing out because there was not enough time for planning.
Yeah.
And everything. So
I'll pick up a phone tomorrow and hop on a plane and go to, overseas trip.
Yeah. No, I'm a planner.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, let's just go ahead and do a recap because I'm not seeing any good questions coming in.
Okay, sounds good. So in a nutshell, what we learned today in today's episode is definitely look at the 0% side by side with taking a traditional finance rate. Look at those side by side to make sure that you're doing the best thing, and just look at them. Make a good financial decision. Don't buy a vehicle because they're offering 0% and you're paying 3% interest rate. You're paying 5% interest rate. Right? You can get ahead of life by paying that car loan off. Look at the real world scenario that I showed earlier in the video. I showed it right up front. So people that want to rewatch this, they can do that. Talked about why dealers are going to sway you from 0% because it's strictly money. It's just strictly aspect from them. But if they show you good enough reason why, hey, listen, you don't want 0% because of this, especially if you're a good customer of that dealership, right? I'm going to protect my customers because they're going to come back. If I know their buying habits are every 3 years, I don't want to have a conversation in 3 years with a customer and say, yeah, you got 10 grand negative equity. What? Did you screw me over last time? Because now they get that in their head that I screwed them over. It's my fault, right? Not their fault. It's my fault. And they start looking at other dealerships, and I lose the relationship. So typically these deals it's every manufacturer is different, but I'm going off of what Chevrolet is doing currently on 2019s, and this is the last day of the month that I'm recording this, March 31st. April 1st, maybe something different. So it's currently on 2019 models, and then only on this several truck models for the 2020. And typically now speaking, pretty much do everything over the phone or through email or internet, text messaging on buying a car. Don't expect to go into a dealership. Get everything done.
And that does remind me, I saw, and I couldn't find this comment again. Somebody said they were looking for an SUV, but wasn't sure what they wanted, and they would feel bad driving 6 or 7 vehicles that need to be sanitized each and every time, which brings up the fact that dealerships are not doing test drives right now.
Yeah, so I would not expect to be able to do that. And if that's something you need to do, put your car buying on hold. If you need to test drive 5 or 6 vehicles, but you can also go out and rent one as well. If Enterprise or Avis or whatever is renting cars, you could do that as well as go rent one, pay $20, $30 for a day and drive it and have a really extended test drive. You got 5 or 6 vehicles to do, and you put $100 or $200 into this car deal of your own money and investing in that. I think you're okay with that. So that's good to end right there. If you do need a test drive, go look at the rental car companies. They're all going to be base units, but it is a good way to rent something for $20 or $30. And I think if you tell the rental car companies, like, listen, I just want to test drive this because I'm looking to buy one, this is what I need. They'll accommodate your needs. I think they're feeling the effects of coronavirus as well. So for the podcasters, we want to thank you once again for listening and downloading the stream. BeyondTheShowroomPodcast.com is where you can get the stream and get the RSS feed for your favorite device and on your favorite podcasting platform. Tuesday nights, 7 p.m. live on the YouTube channel Chevy Dude. Look up Beyond the Showroom Facebook page where we talk about this stuff all day, every day. We had a lady in there today asking a question about how she bought a car 3 months ago, and the dealer's trying to rework the deal now and screw her over. So we're all having a good conversation in there as well, and giving her good advice on how to protect herself on a 90-day-old car deal that the dealer's trying to do a yo-yo loan on her. So stuff like that we can talk about in there. And of course, you can follow me on Instagram, which is ChevyDude_. And as always, guys, thanks again for listening. Have a great day. Drive safely, and we'll see you next week. All right, there we go.
Okay, now we can get to some of these other questions that keep popping in. Really, guys, C8 does not get talked about during a podcast.
Nope. Yeah, we can't talk about off-topic subjects. We have to stay on topic because I'm recording this over here for the podcast stream, so I really need to be on topic. This podcast makes me zero money. and I really wanted to make it some money. Podcasting is huge. I wanted to do this last year, and I didn't do it because I think this thing is like $700. This thing is $300. This microphone is $400. Her microphone is $400. This thing's $100. This thing's $100. The cameras you see, the cameras that you're watching us on, are all $1,000 a piece, and we have 3 of them.
Yeah, but
I haven't bought all those cameras yet.
But
so
that third one's not doing very well because we're still having delayed problems.
Yes, we are. But I'm told that's kind of there's something going on with YouTube and stuff like that. So, but looking at it on the replay, because I recorded some, it's only delayed on me. It's not delayed on them. Everything's syncing up fine and whatnot. So,
well, somebody said it earlier.
Somebody said, "Why do you both drink different water?" I'm high maintenance, remember?
Yes.
That's what she says. So years ago, I went to a conference in Vegas and they had Fiji water, and I never had it before. And I love the taste of Fiji water, and I just like the square bottle. That's how.
And he doesn't drink much water, so
I'm a pretty basic person, but
you're not basic in any way, shape, or form.
I feel I'm basic.
No.
Oh my gosh.
I'm basic.
You are basic.
You know, I am very picky. I do not like
Aquafina. Yeah.
I don't like spring water. It has a funny taste. But I drink 6 to 7 of these bottles a day.
Yeah.
So I'm going cheap. I can't afford my habit of drinking water with Fiji. I'm the cheap one. He's the expensive one. But, okay. So now you had me totally
You're
lost
fine. Cliff
on...
said Corvette people never really pay attention to the rules. They drive a vet and rules don't apply to them. I think he's right. My car,
some of them.
Yeah, my car got hit in our parking lot, and I posted that video last week on Facebook, and it's got like 700,000 views or 600,000 views or something like that, and people are just trashing me on it. It's it's hilarious. But my nose was parked over the white line, and I really just didn't know it. I just didn't pay attention. But the reason I didn't pay attention is because it was 4 something in the afternoon. We left in an hour and a half, so there's nobody that should be in that area. So that's why I just didn't pay attention. It's not like I parked sideways over 2 parking spots. It just happened to be over the line a little bit that nobody should have been parking. But it's funny because people make that comment, "Oh, he's just a Corvette douchebag," and blah, blah, blah. And I just laugh at it. There's nobody can say anything negative. Nobody can say anything negative to me and hurt my feelings. It's impossible to do.
Oh, I could say a lot of negative things to you and hurt your feelings.
Well, that's because you care. That's because I care about you, and to another level of people. Kirkland water is good. Tom said so, but yeah, I think I have a little bit different feelings if you were to say something mean to me than most people.
Okay. Somebody asked earlier in the podcast about dealers not wanting you to pay cash. Do we find that still true that dealers have more of an issue when you're saying you're a cash buyer?
Oh yeah, dealers hate cash buyers. So the reason dealers hate cash buyers is because you don't finance with them, and they get that finance reserve from the bank. That can be anywhere from 1% to 5% of the amount that you finance, and it's not because they're marking up the rate. So a lot of banks are going away from the whole, hey, we're going to sell it to the dealership at 3%, and the dealership marks it up 1 or 2 points for 4 or 5%, and they make that difference. They're just paying a flat percentage rate, and that's where the dealers do it. Also, because most consumers are payment buyers, as we were talking about on the podcast portion of it, they go into the finance office and they talk payment. That's all they talk about is payment. And they're presenting them warranty and other stuff. And there's a lot of good things that you can buy in there. I think Gap's a good thing to buy if you don't put money down. If you don't put 20% down, at least 20% down. Extended warranties are a good thing to buy, depending on, as long as it's a reputable company and it's you understand what you're buying on that. There's 2 types of warranties: an exclusionary warranty and a stated coverage warranty. Pretty much any new car you buy or a car that's got warranty on it is going to be exclusionary. But so that's what all they do. So they can't talk to you about payment. So if you walk in and you're paying $20,000 for something and they sell you a $2,000 warranty, now they got to get $22,000 out of you. If they want to sell you, paint protection, interior protection, that's $700. Now they got to get $22,700 out of you. And that's extremely hard to do. So that's why they hate cash buyers.
And AC said, thanks, Chevy Dude, for the aluminum foil tip for the cats. I'm glad somebody really realized that it was the cat that we were talking about and not the dog.
People were triggered. It's like, it's the dog. It's like, it's not the dog. It's the cat.
It's the cat we don't want on our furniture.
Yes. The cat is the reason we got new furniture. Stupid cat.
He's a bad cat.
Yeah.
Actually, he's a really very friendly and good cat, but like all cats, he has some bad behavior.
Somebody said something about our chairs. I got them on Amazon for like $150 a piece or something like that, or $99 a piece. They were cheap. So I just literally got them for this because, again, I was talking about earlier about, this is a business, right? And everything in here is costing money. And when I go to this camera angle, you can see that, I don't have much on the walls. I need to get more on the walls back here, but I'm confused on what I want to put up there. I may literally just put wood paneling up here, but it's just everything in this building, everything in this is money because I had to build this room and
everything in your life is money. Yes. Okay. So another question came in. It says, my question is that I have crappy credit and one dealership can get me finance, but another one can't. And they're on the same price vehicle. Why would that be?
Because that dealership is weak. That's why. So if here's a tip for subprime buyers, and car salesmen will never tell you this because it hurts their business, right? So one thing that car salesmen never do is they never tell you when you're a subprime buyer. They never tell you that you're approved on the phone. They'll always tell you, hey, I think I got things worked out. When can you be in, right? They always want to get you in. And I'll tell you, I do this too. I'll never tell someone they're approved when they have subprime. The reason why they don't is because when I tell you you're approved, I have just given you a hunting license to go hunt at other dealerships and work off my approval that I worked my ass off to get you approved on. And this is exactly what happens with the consumers. I'm being very direct here. I'm being very brutally honest here, and I'm being 100% respectful. But when I tell you the true and factual information, you use that against me to hurt me. And by hurting me, I'm saying you're not going to buy a car from me because you find out that I can get you approved on this, and you go to another dealership and you buy a car over there because in your head, you're like, hey, I'm going to go over there and buy a car. I really like these cars better than the Chevy or the Ford that I'm buying or whatever. So it's a weak dealership, one. And two, what you could do is call that dealership and say, hey, listen, the dealership that you're approved on, it's like, hey, listen, I'm trying to figure out insurance on that car. What bank, the insurance company is asking what bank, it should be the lien holder. I don't know why they need to know that information, but they're requesting it. And that's where you can find out what bank they're using, and you can go back to the other dealership and say, hey, listen, they got me approved through ABC Financial Credit. Do you work with them? So that's one way to do it. It's very, very sneaky. It goes against everything in the car business, and it goes exactly with the route I just told you, the scenario why car dealerships don't tell consumers the truth or tell them all the facts, because that's what happens. But just remember that dealership did work hard to get you approved, and if they got the car that you like and it's very similar to the car over there, try to work with that first dealership, because they did do all the work and they did a really good job of getting you approved. And the second dealership is not professional enough or have enough wherewithal to get you approved the same way the first dealership did. But that's why.
And I see a couple of comments about somebody's like, Mike hates you, or somebody saying I work my butt off for my money, so I'm not paying financing charges. Now, no, salesmen don't care either way.
Right. Yeah.
It's the finance office, the dealership as a whole, that doesn't like a cash buyer. But Mike, for sure, you're a cash buyer. Okay.
I don't care. Most of my deals are cash buyers. Right. So, but my finance managers love me because I believe in a couple of products, and I convey that belief and convey that reasoning why over to my clients. Extended warranty. You need to get an extended warranty on every single car out there. These cars are expensive. The cost to get an extended warranty is very, very cheap. And I don't care if anybody out there tells you, don't buy an extended warranty, they're a waste of money. BS. Call them when your car breaks and see if they'll write you a check for $1,800 for a sensor, a little itty bitty sensor that breaks in your car or goes bad in your car. Call them and say, hey, listen, I'm not going to buy that extended warranty, but when something comes up, will you pay that? And if they tell you no, that they're not willing to pay it, then buy that extended warranty because they're already giving you bad advice. So, but literally the airbag sensor for the passenger, we had this go out on our Grand Prix. We had a Grand Prix GXP. And even when somebody was sitting in the seat, it said the airbag was off. You remember that?
Kind of.
Kind of. So
I remember the transmission problem.
The transmission problem as well, but that airbag sensor went out. And so I went in not thinking much of it. I had an extended warranty, thank goodness. And lo and behold, $1,300 for this little itty bitty sensor. I'm like, what? $1,300. And I was already sold on extended warranties because I see the everyday pros and cons of people getting them and not getting them in the dealership in the service department. But man, I'll tell you what, that was like, I had to pay $50. I had to pay a $50 copay for that. Your paint protection, your fabric protection. The big misnomer on everything out there is like, oh, they just spray some stuff on, blah, blah, blah. But you know what? People pay for Ceramic Pro. They pay thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars for Ceramic Pro. You're not paying for the product. You're paying for the warranty. So if something goes astray of that, yes, you have a 5-year warranty with our stuff that we use. We have a 5-year warranty with everything. And what was the very first thing I did to this cloth couch when we got it here?
We put
I put the fabric protector on it.
Yep.
I sprayed the hell out of it. And
it works.
It does work. It works 100%. So, was it the Camaro? I think we were coming back from the Euro shop right around from our house, and I just kind of stopped really weird in the driveway. And I get the paint and fabric protection on my cars, and she had a Mountain Dew in her hand, and the cup collapsed. It was a styrofoam cup. And the lid came off and it hit the ground. The liquid hit the ground and it spilled all over. And I'm like, oh, it was the Malibu. That's what it was. I remember it was a light interior color car. And, I had that car for 2 or 3 years now. And, well, crap. I run in and get a towel and I come out and it's all beaded up. It's like wax on it because I protected it. It's like, oh, well, we just dumped that Mountain Dew and it didn't do anything on it. And if that would have done something to it, if it would have damaged it, they would have fixed my interior. They would have dyed the interior. They would have put a whole brand new interior in it for free, So that's what you're paying for the warranty if something like that happens. So I'm a huge believer in extended warranties. I'm a huge believer in certain paint and protection packages. Ours is a nano coating that we use at our dealership. So it's one step below a ceramic. So you don't have the expense of the ceramic. So a lot of the ceramics, the reason you have a big expense is because of the labor and the prep work to put that ceramic on. So with the nano coatings, it has a lot of the same characteristics as ceramic, but you don't have the expense to prep the car with it. So I work with 360 Collision, and he pretty much does it at cost or free, depending on what he wants to do for me. But I love working with him and I love giving him stuff, but in business, and it's just a good business relationship that we have. And I tell him all the time, I'll pay for stuff, but he just takes care of me and he takes care of my customers, and I don't have to deal with any issues out of him. If I had to deal with one issue out of him repeatedly, I wouldn't do business with him one bit, but he does a fantastic job and I love working with him. But, so nowadays the key replacement, gosh, a key fob now is $250. If you have to replace a key fob, you might as well just bank on $250. So if you have to spend $500 or $600 on a key replacement, it allows you to replace one every year for 5 years, so what? There you go. Ding nowadays is seems to be a good product. So I'm on the fence on that. It just depends on the person. I kind of ask them a lot of questions, but extended warranty and paint protection, absolutely 100% every car deal. Everybody should get that. And I saw that. So let me scroll back down here to get that. Steve said, thanks again for that super chat. Shouldn't you wait until just before the OEM warranty is up before buying an extended warranty? No. I'm glad you asked that. That is an absolute fantastic question to ask.
No, you do not want to wait until then. The reason why is over the next 2 or 3 years, you're going to have inflation. So the best time to buy an extended warranty, regardless if it's OEM or aftermarket, is at the time you purchase the car. So if you're financing, number one, you can roll it into your payments. But also it's going to cover the most and it's going to be the cheapest. So down the road, you may get what's called a stated coverage warranty. Typically speaking, if you still have warranty left, they're going to give you an exclusionary warranty, but you pull that risk that if something changes from today to 3 years from now, that they're like, hey, listen, if you don't buy it at the time, we're going to give you stated coverage from now on. So exclusionary warranty with it, basically it tells you what's not covered. With my warranty, it's a small box of what's not covered, and it's goofy stuff, paint, glass, trim pieces, stuff like that, headlights, clutches, stuff like that. Nothing of a big deal. Emissions thing, which no warranty company covers emissions thing because that's federal government stuff. But and then when you go to a stated coverage, they tell you what is covered rather than what isn't covered, and that's why getting a new car warranty is better than a used car warranty. So down the road, you may have different things. So no, I always recommend to get it at the time because it's going to be cheaper for you in the long run.
Okay.
Hey, Ben, I am all game. My car got delayed. My C8 got delayed for quality hold, which I'm not going to go into details of why it was on quality hold. It wasn't because of the horn. But I was going to reach out to Doug and have him do a review on my C8, and he got one already. I literally would have shipped my car out to California and done a video with him. But my car got here late, and he did one already. But that'd be pretty awesome. So if anybody wants to hit up YouTubers and hey, you need to collab with Davenport or Chevy Dude or whatever, feel free to do so, because I would love to do collabs. I'm having fun this last week just doing YouTube every single day.
Yeah.
Are you?
Sometimes. It just depends on what we are doing. Okay. We had a question come in asking, how long does it take to get an active military member set up and out with a vehicle? Would they need to take leave to do it?
So it depends on where you're at. I've had people from Korea. I literally sold a Corvette to a guy in South Korea, and he was active duty military, and he did have to take leave because he had to just a lot of travel. But most of the times we have Fort Knox right down the road from us. We have Fort Knox an hour from us. We saw a lot of military people, and military people do not buy cars close to the base. I think you already know that. Do not buy cars close to the base. Travel an hour outside the base to buy a car. I promise you, it'll save you thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars. Yeah. So I try to do, I typically, this is what I tell my clients. When you're coming to see me, you're buying a car. You're not coming to shop. You're not coming to look around. I want to do everything over the phone. And when you come in and see me, that we're buying a car. Okay. So maybe not in today's world, not in today's COVID-19 stuff, but 6 weeks ago, if you need to come in and test drive something, it's a used car, and make sure that it's right, or I just need to do a little bit of appraisal, like I've done your appraisal over the phone and just need to inspect it to make sure it's exactly what you told me, that stuff's okay to do. But I literally want to have someone come into my dealership and get you the hell out of here. I don't mean that in any disrespect, right? Somebody could be like, well, he doesn't want to deal with his customers. I'll spend as much time as I want with somebody, but let's just be truthful with one another. Nobody wants to spend all day at a car dealership. I've been doing it for 20 years, spending all day, and I hate it. But you hate it even more when you got to spend 2 or 3 or 4 hours there, and you got more important things to do with your life than spend it at the dealership. So, so I try to always get things out there to get done before you get there. So I don't think you need to take leave if you're local. If you're stationed somewhere and you need to take leave and come overseas, then you may have to. But yeah, just you have to talk to your CO and whatnot. But most of my military people don't take leave to come do it. They can do it on the weekends or come in at night or whatever the case may be.
And we had a question about Tahoe and Suburban. So, are the new Tahoe and Suburbans worth waiting for, or would it be better to get the huge discounts on the current model year?
So, anytime anybody asks me the question, is it worth it? Like I had that question today. I had one of my C8 people call me today and says, should I buy this $15,000 off MSRP Z06 or should I still buy the C8? And I'm like, I can't answer that question for you. That's kind of like an emotional
decision that you need to make, I'll guide you through it. Let's talk real here, right? I mean, I could talk myself out of a car deal right now, right? I'll talk myself out of a car deal all day long. I'm not worried about 1 or 2 car deals a month. I'm more worried about giving good advice and building that relationship, especially now that I have YouTube, right? I mean, I did this before YouTube, but now that I'm more public and I think I have a huge reputation to uphold. And most importantly, I think I have a bigger reputation to uphold for Bachman Chevrolet. I take that right there. I more worried about Bachman Chevrolet's relationship or reputation than my own. If I tarnish my own relationship, why am I saying relationship? If I tarnish my own reputation, that's on me. If I tarnish the Bachman's relationship, and that's on me, I don't know how I'd live with myself, because I love the Bachmans to death and they are fantastic people, 100%, and I'll do anything for them. But I'll talk myself out of a car deal to give good advice. And like I said, I've done that when I had no money, right? I had no money. I would do that. Like, yeah, you don't want to buy a car. You're stupid for doing that. I did that a ton in 08 and 09. People wanted to trade in their trucks because gas got $5 a gallon. Like, you're crazy for trading gas for that. And they'd go do it. And they'd call me 6 months later, Mike, I made a big mistake. I told you not to trade, idiot. But, so that's difficult to say. So I'm a technology guy. So my emotional hot buttons are a little bit different than your emotional hot buttons, maybe. And the technology that's in the new Tahoes, the 2021 Tahoes, are amazing. The Z71 on the new Tahoe, oh my God, it's so sexy. I love this new Tahoe on the Z71, the way it looks. But the current Tahoe, yes, there's the savings there that you're going to have, but you just gotta come up with it. Is it worth it? Now with the new Tahoe compared to the old Tahoe back in, when did this new Tahoe come out? 15, I think. So the last generation Tahoe to the current generation Tahoe. Now we don't have to pull those seats out anymore. Now I'd have told you to wait, but the seats lay down flat and stuff like that. But that's got to be on you, because that's got to be just outweigh, your wants and needs and your triggers and your hot buttons and stuff like that. So do what you want, but I don't know. I think I like the 2021s for sure.
Okay, let's look at finishing this off with a little C8 talk.
All right.
Somebody said, I put $5,000 down in August. I was number 9 out of an allocation of 33. Now I'm being told I may have to pay a price increase for a 21.
Yeah. So it's good that the dealership is putting that out there, that you may have to pay a price increase, but they don't know. They have no idea what's going to happen with 2021 price increase. If anybody knows what's going to happen, I would tell you guys. But we don't know. I'm speculating, which I don't like to do rumors and speculate much, but sometimes you've got to speculate, and I gotta give this information out. I don't anticipate any type of price increase, and definitely not a significant price increase for 20 to 2021. This whole 2020 Corvette launch has been so emotional and so screwed up on multiple levels, on multiple accounts, by multiple people, by multiple organizations, that are a lot of times out of control of people. But it's just not, I'm sure, I don't talk to anybody at GM, I don't know, but I'm sure this is not the way General Motors wanted this car to launch. And so 2021 is going to be their year to, hey, let's really launch this car. Let's do something epic. Let's do something great. Let's get this thing going, right? Let's get this out on the roads. Because right now, there's only about 2,500 Corvettes on the road in 50 states. So you do the math on how many that is per state. I haven't seen one in Louisville, Kentucky at all for we've had the car for 2 weeks now. So I've had the car for 2 weeks, driving it every day, almost got 1,000 miles on it. And I have not seen another Corvette. Now, I personally love that, right? Because my Corvette is for a brand, it's for a business, it's for this YouTube channel, and I got YouTube all over it, and people are coming up to me, and I'm getting new subscribers from it, and they're like, hey, I'll follow you, or they follow me on Instagram, or whatever the case may be. So I like that idea, but this isn't about me. This is about you as a consumer wanting to buy this car. So I'll be doing updates on videos on C8 allocations and what's going on, but I don't anticipate much of a price increase, of any price increase. So we'll just have to wait and see until GM announces it. So GM did this video
for dealers that said, hey, we're being transparent. We're going to tell you everything. There's a lot of rumors out there, the blah, 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 blah. And then they don't tell us anything. So I don't know how they feel that they're being transparent, because they're not being transparent in any way, shape, or form with dealers. But I get all my information from non-General Motors people. I'm really digging deep into get a lot of my information and get through it. And some of the information that I get from official GM people is wrong. It's completely wrong, and they told me, official GM representative told me that the owner's manual is going to be out in January. Didn't come out in January, came out in February. So they were wrong on that. When I was out in Ferrant, I was told that I could do a burnout in this car. I can't do a burnout in this car. We were told other things that is not accurate on this car now that I've got it. And I'm glad I didn't report some of this stuff that they told us. I just held back with it they told me that if you take a non-Z51 on a track, this is what I was told. I can't confirm this, but I was told by a GM representative at Ferrant, Nevada, that if you take a non-Z51 car on a racetrack, it's void your warranty. I don't read that anywhere. I don't read that anywhere in the owner's manual. I don't read that in the warranty booklet, nothing like that. But it's a sports car and it's designed to be sports. Now, Z51 does give it that extra capability, but I don't read that anywhere. And if somebody would, I know GM listens to my stuff, but if they want to show me, hey, here it is, so that I can report that to people, so I can be transparent to people about this. Like, hey, listen, don't take your car on the track one time where your warranty is voided. Let us know as a dealership. We don't know. We have no idea if this is true or this is false. Just like the colors that came out. Is this true or is this false? By the screenshot, it appears to be true. It does appear to be true based off the screenshot, because I know where that screen's coming from. But we don't know. They're not telling us.
Well, the same goes for sorry. The same goes for the shutdown right now. We don't know what this shutdown is going to do for the 2020 model year.
Right. We only got one allocation last week for a 2020 Corvette, which is, I've never gotten one allocation. So we'll see. This month is supposed to be this month. I'm already talking like it's April, but tomorrow's April. So we're supposed to get allocations one more month in the month of April. We'll see what happens. We may not get any. They may be like, we're done taking 2020 orders completely. They came out in the middle of the month and said, no more sold 2020 orders. We can still put 2020 orders in, but we just can't use the code SRE. We have to use the code TRE. So if you don't use the code SRE, you can't get certain things. You can't get custom plaque. You can't get custom VIN, which the custom VIN is not that big of a deal. But you cannot do museum delivery with TRE. Now, there's a way that you can do museum delivery. You can call a museum and say, hey, listen, I want to pay you $900. Can you flip that so it gets shipped to the museum? They can make that happen, but it may not be on the window sticker. So you're just supporting it, the museum, which is always a good thing. I love supporting the museum. I love doing things from them.
And as we talked about on our Friday live stream, for those who missed it, we did a Q&A on Corvette C8 mainly Friday night.
And we may do it again this Friday because it was our best live stream period. So
but as
I'm game on it.
Where I was going with this is, the 3000 code, the 3000 status code, you anticipate those orders being fulfilled, don't you?
Yes, absolutely. So anything that is in there, and I've been conveying this to my customers, anything that's in there past 2000 status is going to get built for 2020. 2020 does not end until August. So they're building cars in August for 2020 model year. September is when 2021 starts. So we still are fine. We got April, May, June, July, August. We have 5 more months of production. And if we have let me do the math here. If we do get, let's say we get 4 months. Okay. So if they can build 750 cars a week, and we have 4 months times 12 weeks, that's 9,000 more cars they can build. Ooh, that's not a lot, actually. Now that I put that math. So, man, they may only build 12. Wow. See, this is the way I think, guys. This is the way I'm just doing that live thinking here, knowing how many they can build a day, what they're trying to build a day. Yeah, it's gonna be tough. So I think they can probably get maybe 12,000 Corvettes out this year. They want to do 50. They want to do 55,000 plus. So they definitely want to hit 55,000 units in 1 year. So it'll be interesting. So, but it's good. It's good that they can only get 9,000 out. I think they should. I think they should keep the price point where it's at and only build 9 or 10,000 a year. Keep the number around. Keep the values of these cars up, and then not let dealers slash the prices. I think, if they keep them only selling 8, 9, 10,000 a year, and we have to all buy them at MSRP, no employee discounts, that's good for the brand. It's good for the car. I just don't know if it's good for their financial status. That's on them. I don't know their financials on it. It may not be good. They may need to sell 50,000 of these to turn a profit on the car.
And somebody asked if we've ever done Tail the Dragon with our vets.
We haven't. That's something we need to do this year. Since we're not going to London now. Apparently, I think Tom was the one who did it, which I don't like Tom anymore that he gave me that bad news. But that's definitely something we got to do. So we're gonna go to Canada this year. I had a couple customers up in Canada that's bought used cars from me. That I want to go up and visit. So I was just talking to one last night. On the phone, it was earlier today. I was on the phone with them. I've never been outside of Windsor. I've only went over to Detroit and just into Windsor and back.
Same here.
I could have walked in. I drove in, but I could have walked in and walked back. So I love to go up to Toronto and go over to the falls, Niagara Falls, stuff like that. And I told them, I was like, no, I probably would go Niagara Falls way. I wouldn't go up through Windsor and over, even though it's an hour quicker, because I can get some pretty epic pictures of the C8 next to Niagara Falls. So, and it's something I've never done. I got a lot of friends in New York, and I wouldn't go over to Vermont and stuff like that, but I do got friends in Vermont, New Hampshire, and
I wouldn't mind going to Montreal.
Where's that at? Is that up in Toronto? Up and around? Or is that over on the West Coast? Vancouver?
No, that is up above Maine and Vermont.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
That area.
Yeah, so ever since the Montreal Canadiens don't play hockey up there anymore, I can't remember. So, well, guys, we've been on this thing for 1 hour, 59 minutes, and 9 seconds. I think it's going to end it for the day. We'll probably do a live stream Friday night, and we'll make that all open, all Q&A, whatever we want to talk about, we'll be here for you. And so we really appreciate the super chats that everybody did, because that's very, very important to us, doing these live streams, and it pays for all this equipment. Make sure you support our sponsor, which is Surfshark VPN. Their links are in the description below. You definitely need a VPN on everything we do nowadays to protect yourself. So their links in the description below. With them, use Chevy Dude as a code, and it saves you quite a bit of money, 83% off, and they give you an extra month. That's right there on the screen as well. Surfshark.deals/Chevy Dude, promo code Chevy Dude. So guys, thanks again for watching. We really appreciate you being here. We'll most likely see you Friday night. Make sure you have your bell notifications on and subscribe to the channel, because that's when you're going to get notified that we're on. Have a great day. Drive safely. You gonna say it too?
Oh, am I supposed to say it too?
You can say it too. Say it.
Drive safely?
Yeah, there you go.
Okay, bye.
See you guys.